Hello, my name is Christopher. Welcome back to my blog. Today I'm going to be talking about the bacteria that I'm going to be working with in my upcoming project, E. coli, also known as Escherichia coli. E. coli is a type of bacteria that's commonly found in the environment, including like soil, water, and found in the intestine tracts of animals and humans. On top of this, it can also be grown in a lab setting, and right now I want to tell you some quick ways on how to take care of E. coli. So the general steps for growing E. coli in a laboratory are 1. Obtain a pure culture of E. coli. This can be done by obtaining a frozen culture from a culture collection, or by isolating the bacteria from a sample using techniques such as streaking for isolation on a solid medium. So next, you would put the E. coli bacteria in a liquid culture nutrient broth, or a nutrient agar. Those are two commonly used substances slash medias for growing E. coli. Third, you would incubate the culture at the appropriate temperature and pH for the strain of E. coli. Most E. coli strains are grown at around 37 degrees Celsius, and at a pH of 7.0. Fourth, you would monitor the growth of the culture. This can be done by measuring the optical density of the culture using a spectrophotometer, or by observing the culture visually through the presence of colonies on a solid medium, such as agar on a petri dish. Apart from growing the E. coli, I would also need a way to preserve it. Here are some ways to preserve the E. coli bacteria. So first would involve freeze drying. This method involves drying the bacteria under vacuum conditions at low temperatures. Then the dried bacteria can be stored at room temperature and rehydrated when needed. Second way would be through lyophilization. This method involves freezing the bacteria and then subjecting them to high pressure to remove the water. The dried bacteria can then be stored at room temperature and rehydrated when needed. A third way would be through refrigeration. The E. coli bacteria can be stored at 4 degrees Celsius for short-term preservation. However, this method is not suitable for long-term storage, as the bacteria will eventually lose its viability. A final good option would be freeze storage. The E. coli bacteria can be stored at negative 80 degrees Celsius for long-term preservation. This method is suitable for storing the bacteria for several years. It's important to know that proper lab safety conditions should be followed when handling E. coli, as some strains cause illness in humans. It could include wearing gloves, a lab coat, goggles, and other protective clothing, but be sure to sterilize all equipment and surfaces before and after use. This should be done with the proper disinfectant. For my experiment, the E. coli will be placed in tubes inside of a water bath. It will be facing electromagnetic fields of up to 30 Gauss. Tools, data, and experimental setup will all be visible in future blog posts. Thank you for watching.